دمعة الفكر تناجي الله في صبر وترجو رحمة تسري فعاش القلب إخلاصا وصرت تحوم كالطير تحلق في ثقافات وتنهل من ربى الخير.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brothers and sisters and dear friends. Welcome to Reality 11. On this episode, we're going to be talking about the broken promise. The promise that was given to a certain sister from a brother regarding marriage. And he had all the vital signs there to build the trust of the sister. Well, that didn't go to plan and the sister was left traumatized. We're going to go straight into that interview, but before we do, obviously, as you guys know, Pure Matrimony sponsors our shows and it's the most halal website to find your partner, and all the halal means are there for you and the options on the site for you to take that halal approach and inshallah get married. Now, brothers and sisters, we're going to go straight into the interview and hear the sister's story, and we're going to be straight back and talk to you guys inshallah of where the sister went wrong, what could she have done and what she should have not have done. And inshallah this will help us and help you inshallah to benefit from it and do not fall for the same trap. We're going to be right back inshallah. So sister, going straight into it, how did you meet this individual first? How do you know him?
He was a close cousin of one of my very close friends, so I was at this close friend's house regularly, and obviously he'd be there too, so initially our conversation started from that point, and we just became friends.
Okay, and how old was you then?
I'm 13.
He was 13?
13.
And he was?
He was 14, just a year above.
Okay, just a year above. And this is the first time you met?
It's the first time ever we've met and spoken.
Obviously at that age it's just friendship?
That's right, yeah.
At what point did he approach you with maybe his feelings for you, or he wants to take it serious?
Not until I was 18. That's initially when I was approached by his close family and friends, because he was too nervous and he had the decency to not approach me himself. So he'd sent people that were close to him to speak to me and just kind of know what my intention was at that stage.
So he and how old was he then?
I was 18, he was 19.
Okay, he was 18 and he was 19, and he basically at that age he wanted to take things further.
That's right.
So he got his family involved.
That's right.
And someone from his family members approached you.
That's right.
And what was your reaction?
Obviously, because I was really young, I was nervous. Small place, a lot of people talk. I've always been scared of people trying to defame me and talk about what you do and don't do. So I was nervous, I was innocent, I didn't want to pursue it at the time. So I just carried on talking to him like, nothing's been said.
Yeah.
But obviously along the way, because I knew of its intentions and because I was going through a lot at the time, and he was my system of support, somewhere along those lines, I fell for it. And we pursued a relationship. Okay,
so the fact that he's approaching you, obviously at a young age, male and females were a bit naive. At that age, him taking that right approach of getting the family involved, I'm sure it gave you a bit of security of, okay, he must be serious.
No, definitely, because I'd known him for so long. I knew he was a decent character.
Yeah.
I had never heard a bad word about him, the way he spoke to me, the way he spoke to his family members, the way he spoke to people. He was known as, a respected guy. He was just a good man. Obviously, like I said, he was protective of me. He wouldn't, he was almost like my shield to look after me. He would... he was just a good person. I could never doubt that he would have, the wrong intentions towards me or towards anyone.
Okay. Sorry to cut you. So basically, you did say that you went through some kind of depression and tried to commit suicide.
Yeah, I did. But this was at the age of about 15, 16-ish. That's initially when it started. I was friends with him, but obviously at that point we weren't in touch every single day. I went through a phase where I suffered from depression. Yeah. Took some stupid steps, tried to commit suicide, so it was pretty intense. I then got a job working in the local area where he happened to work. He became aware of my situations, my health, and he gave it 100% to ensure that I was okay. Took me to counsellors, medical routes, everything, just to ensure I was alright, checking up on me all the time. So I suppose he was my sense of he had that sense of care, that's moral support, emotional support, mental support. He was there, if anything, as a best friend.
So all that stuff you're going through, he was there for you?
He was there. He was there through thick and thin. He was already standing there, and he continued to stand there despite the support I got from my family. He didn't think, I'll back out now, she's got a family. He was just there as a best friend throughout everything that I was going through.
Okay, so I'm sure like having that kind of support from him, and was your feelings like at that moment, was you, because obviously he's at that moment of time, and this is after his family approaches you when he was 18, right?
This was just before, well, my depression was there whilst I was getting to know him.
Okay.
Him knowing what I was going through, his family had approached me after.
They approach you after?
Yeah, that's right.
So before they approach you, I'm sure you, obviously when somebody cares about you so much, you have these feelings towards him, and then his family approaching you, maybe, you know, made you, you know, seem more legitimate.
Definitely. Yeah.
So, okay, his family approached you, and what happened next?
So like I said, I spoke to him like nothing happened. Didn't even consider what I'd been approached with. I just wanted to keep it as friends at the time because I was so young. But like I said, I think because at the back of my head I was aware of his intentions, and the fact that he was, you know, he was decent, he was good, he respected me, you know, he cared, and he showed that love through his actions. So somewhere along those lines, I fell for it as well. I suppose because there wasn't really a flaw in him, and when I thought about my future, I thought this is the person I want to be with. Obviously, most girls aren't the type of girls that can kind of, you know, pluck up the courage and get to know somebody fresh. So because he was a friend for so long, I was so comfortable and so confident that this was it, you know, it was him.
Was you close with his family members?
Extremely close. We were best friends. We were best friends. Me and his siblings were best friends.
So that was kind of like a reference where, like, it's like you had that trust.
Definitely, yeah.
Okay, so what happened next? Obviously, you said a family member of his passed away.
That's right. A member of his family had passed away, and obviously he...
Was this before?
His family member passed away just before they approached me to pursue a relationship.
Oh,
so just before. He completely broke down, and obviously there was that short period where we didn't talk because he needed the time to himself. But I remember when his family member passed away, since that point I've always had that regret in my heart that why didn't I take the step to meet this individual. So, you know, for a very long time that regret lingered over me. And I remember when I decided to pursue this relationship, I spoke about my feelings about, you know, I'm sorry I didn't meet this individual, I'm sorry I didn't, you know, make the effort. And he took that regret away by taking me to this family member's grave and introducing me. So he took that regret away in a matter of seconds for me. And for someone to do that, it just seemed so sincere, so genuine. And like I said, I didn't feel like I was blinded in any way. I just felt like this was real. He was genuine, you know, his intentions are genuine, and this is what I wanted.
So where does it come to the point where, like, did you speak about marriage?
We did, yeah.
Okay, what did he say to you? Like, did he say to you, we're going to get married, wait for me, let me find a job? What did he say to you?
He said he obviously made his intentions clear that he wanted to marry me. I heard that through his family members as well. You know, his parents, you know, he wants to get married, you know, this isn't his intention. What are your family like? How do you want to do this? Obviously, I'm a girl. I would be very scared at the young age of, you know, 19 to say to my family, you know, I have somebody that I want to marry, especially when I've got much older siblings, you know. I was scared. So I did say to him, look, not just yet, please, not just yet, let me just find a way to do this. So we just carried on, you know, as it was, but all along it was never a case where it was, will you be my girlfriend? Nobody could ever say that I was his girlfriend or he was my boyfriend. He had that much respect that all he had ever said to me was, when will we get married? You know, he would see families walking past his workplace, you know, when can we have a family? You know, he had that vision of the future, not what we could do in the moment. Like he was just sincere. It was just, everything seemed so genuine.
So he wanted to get married, and you, because of other reasons, you was holding it back.
I was holding it back. I won't deny, obviously, because I was very young. I said, look, we will do this, but let me find a way of doing it. I didn't say we're not going to do it now. I said, look, I need to find somebody in the family that I could talk to. So I did. Eventually, I actually spoke to an extended family member who I was very close to, and I spoke about it, and she said, okay, fine, you know, speak to your mum or speak to your dad or speak to your sister. But I was scared, you know. It's natural to have that feeling, you know, because in this, you know, day and age, society will instantly say, well, you know, look at her age, and, you know, she was doing this or she was doing that. And it was the fear of it that was holding me back. But in the long term, my intention was that this is the person that I wanted to marry.
Okay. So when did it go downhill? Like, for example, did it have a turn where it was he wants to get married, you're saying wait? Did it have a turn where you was like, let's get married, and he was like...
No. What had happened, obviously, then his family understood. He did come to agree that he was relatively young. and obviously he wanted to be a bit more stable, kind of build up, you know, kind of do a bit more for himself. So then he decided to focus on his career. I decided to focus on my career, and we just started getting on that way. Nothing had changed between us. We still spoke regularly. Everything was normal. Everything was just intact. Until one day, I just noticed we started to speak less and less. So I approached him and said, "Is something bothering you? You know, has something happened?" Never did I doubt I had done something. Never did I say, "What have I done?" Because I knew I'd given him, you know, the best of me. I'd been so good to him. I'd respected him. I was always there for him. He had financial issues. You know, I provided. He had family issues. I was there. You know, any problems he had, I had the solution. I'd go out my way just to make sure he was okay. So I couldn't possibly think or understand what could be so wrong that he's slowly pulling away or slowly distancing.
So it's this phase where you're giving it your 100% now.
I'd given it 100% from the beginning.
From the beginning, yeah.
I'd given it much more now because I knew that he told me he has X, Y, and Z problems. So I gave everything I had just to ensure he was okay. And when I managed to resolve his problems, I still found that something wasn't right. He was still not talking as much, or he, you know, tried to put me off calls, or tried not to text back, or just not be around anymore.
He's got in contact with you now?
He's today, no, we don't talk at all now.
No. Like I mean, back then.
Back then, yeah, he was still in contact with me, but very rarely. Like he would, we were still in touch. We still had the intention of marriage, but I found that he wouldn't want to have a conversation with me anymore. So every time I would ring, you know, "I'm busy, speak to you later," or if I'd text, wouldn't text back, or even if he saw me passing by, "Hi, you okay?" and walk away almost like he didn't know me. And I found that, almost like, "Hi, you okay? I'll speak to you later."
What matter of
time did he become so cold? Like, was it like over a period of 5 months?
To be honest with you, initially his image started to change. He started going gym. He started looking after his, you know, just physical appearance and everything. And he went into a bigger office where he had obviously more attention from people.
Okay, so life's changing and he's maybe getting more attention.
That's right. He started to get that attention, obviously, maybe from, like I said, he became a bit more vain, you can almost say. So at that point, I realised when he started to change himself for himself was when he started to change towards me also. So he became a bit cold, but I didn't think that was a reason. I didn't think that, you know, just because he's trying to do something for himself.
Did you say he really had problems, or were these just excuses just to avoid you?
I think at the point when everything was happening, I thought his problems were his reasons, because I didn't want to believe or accept that the person that I've known for this long has now changed, especially when you've had the intention of taking it all the way to marriage. You know, when you haven't found a flaw in someone and someone's been a certain way for so long, you don't want to accept that they can change in a matter of 6-7 months. But if I was to look at it today and now, I was honestly blinded, because for what was his excuses became almost like my pain. Like I did everything to make it better for him, you know, but for him it was just excuses really, just to put me off and, you know, maybe go for something better for him in his world, you know, something that he wanted more of, something else, you know, whatever he's like, whatever he wanted. He obviously decided I wasn't good enough, or, you know, whatever it was, but I never heard it from him. As harsh as it sounds, I was approached by a friend of his and said, "Just leave him alone, he doesn't want it anymore." And that was it.
His friend said
that to him? Leave him alone, like, you know, he doesn't want it anymore, just leave, sort of thing. I never heard it from him at all. And then the person that I was initially really close to, so his siblings, said to me, "Oh, he's happy without you." No reason as to nothing along the lines of, "Really sorry this has happened," or, you know, "Are you okay? Well, we need to sit down and talk to you." It was just as harsh as, "Leave him alone, doesn't want it anymore, and he's happy without you." To this day,
how did you feel when?
I didn't want to believe it. I didn't believe it, even though I'd heard it from his immediate family. I still texted and called him like nothing happened, because I had moulded my whole life and my whole future around this one person. Like, I remember at tender age of 2021, you know, when the talks of him wanting to marry me was still in the air, I remember looking and saying, "This is what I want to wear on my wedding," or "This is what I want to wear," you know.
So do you have marriage, like for example, choosing your clothes, did you have this?
I had, yeah. I started putting things together. You know, obviously we're girls at the end of the day. We've got this thing, you know, at the end of the day, Islam doesn't say that, you know, you can't fall in love. Of course you can, but obviously there's a right way of doing it. And, you know, that intention was always there. So I was looking at, oh, this is what I want to wear, because at the age of 20ish, I was intending to pursue it, tell family. I thought it was a bit more sensible. So I did. I put everything together, my plans, venues. I discussed it with him. He was cooperative, so he knew I was building my whole life and my whole future around him. He was fully aware.
I'm sure your dreams were shattered.
They were. It wasn't only my dreams, it was me, because I know I changed,
Do you think the fact that he wanted to get married to you, and you said wait, do you think that played a factor of him basically thinking, you know what, okay, I'm trying this, that, but it's not working, so he just thought, you know what, forget it. I'm just thinking, do you think that might have played a role?
I would agree to some extent that maybe it did. However, I think even after I told him why I couldn't, pursue it at that point, he understood. And if he at any point felt, no, I can't wait for you, he should have left, but he didn't. He was there for a further 2 years. If his intentions had changed, or he didn't respect that, that my decisions, that he might have to wait longer, he should have left. It's wrong for him to have pursued it for a further 2 years. It wasn't right, because not only did he shatter my dreams, but he destroyed. It's soul destroying, because you change.
Of course.
Being from the same area, I felt like I couldn't be at home. Wasn't home anymore. I didn't want to be at home.
There's memories.
There's memories everywhere. I didn't want to be where I was. I used to lock myself away in my room, and I used to stay awake the whole night, and the only way I used to fall asleep is if I used to cry and cry and cry. My eyes used to swell up, and my head used to ache, and that would put me to sleep. It was hard, it was difficult.
Back to like depression or
I didn't, alhamdulillah, I didn't. But I know that I changed as a person, in the sense that I didn't feel like, I have a big family, so in a house full of people I was still alone, but that wasn't their fault, that was my fault, because I was taking out the grief that he had given me on my family. But I didn't realise I was doing that. It's just when you have that pain, you rebel. I rebelled in a way where instead of taking it out on the person that's done this to me, I took it out on my family, and that was wrong. When my dad or my mum or my sister would come and ask me, what's wrong?
Sister, I'm really sorry for putting you through this, but have you heard of him ever since that? For example, because you said that you heard stories from people that he's done this to 2 other individuals.
Yeah, obviously I don't want to believe it, because I'd known him for so long, so I would never doubt his character. Obviously when everything had happened, I'd left, and I just needed that time to kind of, rebuild myself. And I used to kind of run away from home, and and not want to look back, because it felt like being so different at home reminded me why I was being different. And then being in the area that I was, it was just memories really, because you've known someone for so long, and because you've moulded your whole life, in and around them, everything will remind you of them, whether it's a place you've gone to eat, or whether it's a road that you've driven by, or whether it's a person that you've spoken to that's mutual. Everything will remind you of that person. So I struggled a lot. I decided to leave my job, and I decided to get a job in a completely different area, far away from home, just so that I wouldn't have to face it.
So you moved away from home?
I didn't want to face everything, so I decided to pick up, like I said, a job completely out of the way, completely out of the area. I remember that at the time that he obviously wanted to pursue the relationship, he did tell me to stop talking to this and this person. I did it. So at the point that he'd left, I actually had no one around me, not a friend, no one at all. And that was for the reason that he wasn't happy with these people being in my life. So
you changed your whole lifestyle, you left your friends, everything?
I listened to everything he'd wanted me to do, friends, career, everything. And so at the point that he'd left, because I had left people for him, I found myself being alone. And like I said, even with a house full of people, I was still alone, because I wasn't able to talk to them. And every time they would ask me what's wrong, or my sister or older sister used to always say to me, so miserable, stop ruining the family, you're so moody, you're so grumpy. But inside I wanted to scream it out to her, like, this is happening to me, or this is wrong with me. But on the outside I would be like, you know what, go away, or get lost. That would hurt me, because I'm taking my grief out on my sister in a disrespectful way. That would hurt me.
No, it's true. It reminds me of a brother that I know. He would, when he came to Islam,
he went through like this kind of difficulty, and he spoke to a brother, and the brother was saying like, you know, when you make your happiness, your life, your everything, your whole world, an individual, when that individual leaves, your happiness, everything in your life leaves.
Yes,
It's a reminder to us. But I want to come back to the point before we kind of finish off. Is now, have you ever heard of him? Like after that, like has he ever?
I did. I left.
Has he changed for the better? Has he changed for the worse?
I had obviously. Like I said, I moved and I didn't look back. I just didn't look back. I know that a lot of people were talking about me because he'd made it so aware that I was almost labelled as his.
Yeah.
I knew that
so people knew the community.
Yeah, because that was one of his things. He's like, can you start telling people so people know that, you know, can you please tell people so that we can pursue this? And then the more people know, then maybe...
So he wanted you to tell people?
Yeah, he did.
Because he was serious that marriage...
Exactly that. So he wanted me to kind of make it aware that there is somebody in the picture, and I did it for his sake. That, you know, he's so serious, that's why he wants people to know. So one of the reasons that I couldn't be in and around the area was because I could hear people saying, and what hurt me most was when somebody had said to me, I remember walking past a group of girls and said, oh, that's her, you know, he dumped her because she wasn't worth him. So it made me think, what did I do less, or where did I go wrong? You know, what did I not give? You know, I was questioning myself, and because I'd asked myself so many questions, I made myself self-believe that I was the bad one. You know, I belittled myself because of all the questions I was asking myself and what people were saying. It's hard that, you know, home isn't home anymore. Your home should be home, and for me it wasn't. But I did hear, when I came back, obviously I decided to pluck myself together, you know, and, you know, really try and hold on to whatever bit of strength I had, and I decided to come back in the area and just get on with life despite what people said. And I remember being approached by two girls that I had never seen before and asked me if I was okay. I automatically assumed that maybe they've heard things. I said, yeah, I'm fine. But they said, don't worry, he's done that to us as well.
So so two individuals approach you, and they know you obviously because they knew he was going to marry you, and he's done the same to two other sisters. Okay, and how was your reaction when you heard this?
I was numb. I was really numb.
Did you feel like, wow, or was you like, alhamdulillah? Because in a way, like, for example, you must have thought, you know what, maybe that's how it really was. It's better that this happened. What was going through your head?
To be very honest with you, despite knowing all the negatives that he's done, I can't really find it in my heart to hate him, because I think the good times for me override the bad times, and in somewhat way, as a person, I feel like I'm a better person now than what I was back then. Like, my siblings are my best friends, my parents are my best friends. Had I not gone through that experience, I would have never appreciated who my real people are. And like I said, wherever I go, whoever I go with, my sister would be with me. If I have a problem, I don't hold it in. I will speak it out to my sister, because I've learned from that experience.
So it's shaped you?
It has. It's definitely shaped me. Like, but one thing that I will always struggle with is marriage. What's meant to be a girl's dream is now my biggest fear. I cannot imagine having a union with a male. I can't picture it. I have no excitement, no happiness towards it. You know, when people get married, I used to always be the one that wanted to go to weddings, and now when there's a family wedding, I avoid it. So that's one thing that I still struggle with to this day, because of trust, you know, because of what I've gone through, because of fake promises, words, you know. Though his actions were showing it and his words were showing it, it wasn't real, you know, but I still fell for it, because for me, you know, at the time it just seemed so sincere.
Assalamu alaikum, guys, welcome back. You've heard the sister's story, and I'm sure you was touched and traumatized as much as I was of what I heard myself in person. Also, we was going to have another brother who was meant to do the interview with us, but unfortunately, due to personal reasons, he backed out. But this was the same brother who went through the same exact problem with what the sister went through, but with the woman that he was with. And he not only left him, but went and married somebody else. So brothers and sisters, we need to acknowledge this happens to both brothers and sisters. And we both need to learn from the following things which I'm about to tell you. What you need to understand is very, very clear. In order for us to not fall for these sins and these mistakes, and even though if we do, we can learn from them, but as you know, Islam is there not as a cure, but as a prevention. So what do? We have to cut the problem from the roots. Now, what does most people do? They act with their logic. How? They think, okay, I found somebody, he likes me. You've got that. He shows me affectionate. You've got that. He's with me through thick and thin. You've got that. He's involved his family. We can never go wrong. But the main fundamental that your whole life should be based upon, which is Islam and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the fact that you don't get Allah involved, that's where the problem comes. Now, brothers and sisters, you need to understand, you cannot work and base your life around logic and think, yeah, that's there, this is there, that is there, oh, everything's going to be fine. If you do not involve Allah in your worldly affairs, how do you expect any barakah to come with it? Then you can't be surprised and say, oh, why did it go wrong? Of course it will go wrong. If you do not bring the one who's created you, the one who knows what's good and bad for you, and if you disobey that and say, let me go with logic, he likes me, family involved, yeah, well, this is what's going to happen. So what do? We avoid that. Cut it from the roots. Now, let's move on. Now that we've acknowledged that we need to involve Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with our affairs, we need to take that step. How? Now, when you're involving Allah with your worldly affairs and matters, you don't do it the way you want it. By saying, okay, I said Bismillah and I go and commit zina. Don't fool yourself. You involve Allah how He wants to be involved. And what is the right step to take? You do not get involved in a relationship outside nikah. Number one. Number two, you have to get the nikah done. Once you've done this, the nikah is done, there's barakah in your marriage, and you pursue it. Now, if you say, but hold on a second, I know somebody that got married, did it the right way, the guy went and ended up cheating. Hold on a second. If that is the case, for argument's sake, if that is the case, then you've got no sin upon you, my sister or a brother. If you did stuff the right way and they went off and cheated on you or did whatever, you've got no sin upon you because you did the right thing. On the day of judgment, your hands are clean. But if it's both of you and you're in the act and you don't do it, you both are sinners. We can't deny this. And I don't mean this in a harsh way. But you see, even Allah's mercy, He's oft forgiving, most merciful. Now, brothers and sisters, even if you fell for this sin, look how merciful your Lord is. Come back to me. He's the one that loves to forgive sins. He's oft forgiving, most merciful. Come back. If you're sincere in your repentance, not only would your sins be forgiven, but all those bad sins that you did and sincerely repented for will be turned into good deeds. What else do you want, my dear brothers and sisters? Wallahi, your Lord is oft forgiving, most merciful. Acknowledge that in your head. And brothers and sisters, not only is your Lord forgiving, but He's also generous. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said in a hadith that if you leave something for the sake of Allah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will replace that with something much more better. If you say, you know what, enough is enough, I want to do stuff the right way, you leave that girl or you leave that guy for the sake of Allah. Watch how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts barakah in your life and replaces that not only with good deeds, but a better individual who will come and do nikah the right way for you. Now, this is what we need to understand. Me, myself, I'm a living proof of this. Wallahi, I'm telling you, leave something for the sake of Allah and watch how it's going to be replaced with something better. To conclude, if you fix your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He will fix your affairs and your relationships with the people. We need to acknowledge this. There's no running away from it. There's laws that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala set in place. If I drop this glass, it's going to fall. There is laws that govern the planet that we live in. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has different laws that if you disobey, you will fall for it. Even though you fall for these mistakes, it's a rahmah from Him because those mistakes can bring you closer to Him. What else can I say, brothers and sisters? That's about it from me. If you've liked the video, share it with your friends. Inshallah, you guys will benefit. May Allah's mercy and blessings be upon you all. All praises and glory belong to Allah for the works that we do. Thank you very much. Have a brilliant day.